Number 3, I want to use the spinner on the right to answer the questions. Assume that the probability that the pointer will land on any one of the colored regions. Okay, so this question is asking the probability that the pointer lands in a red region. Okay, so red for number 3, we want the probability of red. Okay, so P stands for probability, R is red, and I'm going to count the number of spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 spaces total. 3 of them are red. This reduces to 1/2. So half the time we would expect this to land on red. All right, number 4. Butch has a collection of 70 vinyl records from throughout the 20s, including 3 from the 40s, 4 from the 50s, 9 from the 60s, 7 from the 70s, 14 from the 80s. If he randomly selects one from his collection of 70, find the probability it will be from each of the following decades. Okay, so there's 5 parts altogether. So total, we have 70. They told us that twice. He has a collection of 70 in the beginning, and at the end they tell us 70 again. Now, it says from throughout the 20th century, so that's 100 years. And then they give us specifically how many he has from some of these decades. So 40s, he has 3. From the 50s, he has 4. 9 from the 60s. 7 from the 70s. And they tell us 14 from the 80s. Okay, so if you add these, it does not total 70. He's just giving us some that he has specifically from these time periods. So 70 from the 200th century, he could have some in the 10s, the 20s, 30s, 90s, and then in 2000. So some time periods are not given. That will account for the ones that we're missing, but it's not needed in the context of this problem, just in case you were wondering. But usually they should give you everything and you should add them up and they should equal the total. In this case they didn't, but it's okay. So we want to know probability that if he randomly selects a vinyl record, it would be from the 40s. So I'm going to do all parts. So we've got probability from the 40s. All right, so we know there are 3 in the 40s and there's 70 total, and that will not reduce. So 40s will be 3 over 70. All right, from the 50s, there are 4 from the 50s out of 70. I'm going to go ahead and go down. Looks like we got 5 parts. We have 5 numbers. So let's go ahead and do all of them. 60s will probably be next. 70s and 80s. Okay. 60s is 9 out of 70. 70s is 7 out of 70. 80s is 14 out of 70. All right. So this one will not reduce. This one, they're both even, so we can divide them both by 2, and we will get 2 out of 35. This one will not reduce, so it will stay 9 over 70. Both of these are divisible by 7, so we get 1 out of 10 here. for the 70s. And both of these are also divisible by 7, so we will get 2 out of 10. Okay, and now they're both even, so we can also divide by 2, and that will give us 1 out of 5. Okay, so you always want to take it down to lowest terms. Some of that's kind of running off the edge, but so these are all our numbers. You can go ahead and do them up front because it looks like we have 3 parts after this, and that should be the other term. So 2 out of 35, and then the 60s, which we have as 9 over 70. All right, then the 70s, which we have as 1 out of 10. And then the 80s, which we have as 1 out of 5.